Hi guys, welcome back to TechCravers. This is Ocarina of Time 3D, but not quite as you remember it. Because today we're taking one of the greatest games ever made and giving it the visual upgrades it deserves, with 4K textures. Just look at the difference. On one side we have the original look, still charming, still nostalgic, but definitely showing its age. And on the other side, this. Sharper environments, cleaner characters, more detailed UI, better looking textures everywhere. Suddenly Hyrule feels fresh again. And honestly, with Nintendo finally bringing Ocarina of Time back later this year, I could not be more excited. But until we get our hands on that version, this is a pretty amazing way to revisit the classic right now. So in this video, I'll show you how to get Ocarina of Time 3D running with 4K textures, what files you need, what settings to use, and how to make it look this good on your AYN Thor, or any other capable handheld of course. Alright, let's give Ocarina of Time the glow up it deserves. Now, before we get started, there are a couple of things you should know. In this video, I'm not going to cover how to set up your AYN Thor or any other Android handheld for emulation. I'm assuming that you've already got the Azahar 3DS emulator installed and that you have access to your own copy of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. I've already made several guides covering emulation setup, dual screen layouts, controller configurations, and everything else you need to get started, and I leave links to those in the video description down below. And with that out of the way, let's jump straight into how to get Ocarina of Time looking better than ever. On your device, open a web browser and either click the texture pack link in the video description down below or simply search for Enrico Magnifico texture packs on Google. Once you're on the website, it might look a little strange depending on your browser, so just follow along with me. Tap the hamburger menu on the top corner and then select texture packs. Now scroll down until you find the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D and tap the orange info and download button. From there, keep scrolling until you reach the orange download link. At the time of recording, it's called Download version 4.0. This will take you to a media fire page where you'll see two versions available, 1080p and 4K. Now this is a little confusing, but you actually want to download the 1080p version. Even though we're aiming for the best possible visuals, the 4K pack is primarily intended for PC and can cause issues on Android devices. The 1080p pack still looks fantastic and is the one I recommend for the AYN Thor and other Android handhelds. The download is almost 2 GB, so depending on your internet connection it might take a few minutes to finish. And once the download has finished, open the zip archive using a file manager of your choice. I'll be using ZArchiver, but any file manager that can extract zip files will work. Go ahead and extract the contents of the archive. It contains all of the high resolution textures that we'll be using in this guide. Once the file has been extracted, open up the Azahar emulator. Now long press on Ocarina of Time 3D to bring up the game-specific menu. Here you'll find the game's title ID. The last 3 digits will end in either 400, 500 or 600, depending on which region of the game you're using. In my case it ends in 600, so that's the number I'll be using throughout this guide. Just make a note of whichever one your copy uses, as we'll need it in the next step. Now tap the folder icon next to the play button and then select Open Textures folder. This will take you directly to Azahar's Textures directory. From here, navigate to your device's download folder or wherever you extracted the texture pack earlier. Open the extracted folder and then go to User, then Load, and finally Textures. Inside you'll see 3 folders with long numerical names. Don't worry about the different numbers, only the folder ending in 500 actually contains the texture pack. Select the folder and either copy or move it. Now head back to the Azahar Textures folder we opened a moment ago. The exact location may vary depending on where you installed Azahar, but on my device it's AYN Thor, Azahar, Load, and then Textures. Paste the folder here and once the transfer is complete, we're almost done. Once the folder has been copied, head back into Azahar, long press on Ocarina of Time 3D again and tap the folder icon and select Open Textures folder. If you're already inside one of the numbered folders, simply go back one level, and if there's an existing texture folder for your game, go ahead and delete it, just like I'm doing here. Now for the most important step. Rename the folder you just copied so that its name matches your game's title ID. Earlier we checked that my copy of the game ends in 600, so I'm renaming the folder to end in 600 as well. And if your game ended in 400 or 500, use that number instead. Once the folder name matches your game title ID, Azahar will know exactly which textures to load when you launch the game. Now let's make sure Azahar actually loads the texture pack. Tap the 3 dots in the top left corner and then go to Settings and open the Graphics menu. Scroll down to Internal Resolution and increase it to a higher value. I usually recommend 3 times native, which renders the game at 720p. Just to be clear, this setting has nothing to do with the texture pack itself, it simply increases the game's rendering resolution, making everything look sharper on modern displays. Next, scroll all the way down to the bottom and make sure that both custom textures and async custom textures loading are enabled. Once you have done that, completely close and restart Azahar. The next time you launch Ocarina of Time 3D, the new textures should load automatically. And if the HD texture pack has loaded successfully, you'll immediately notice a small 4K label beneath the Ocarina of Time 3D logo on the title screen. And if you see that, congratulations, everything is set up correctly and you're now ready to experience Ocarina of Time with beautiful high-resolution textures. Now, if this guide helped you out, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like. It helps the channel more than you might think and lets me know that you'd like to see more tutorials like this. If you ran into any issues during the setup or if you have any questions at all, drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to help you out. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos on Android handhelds, emulation, retro gaming and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.